Here at Nationwide Arena, the Nashville Predators beat the Blue Jackets in this preseason game tonight. 5-3 is the final score. Bob McElligott and Jody Shelley back with you. Time to get Jody's take on this game today. You watched it from right between the benches, up close and personal.
Yeah.
What did you see?
It was nice to be down there. I saw a lot of speed. Both teams really skated fast, a lot of good forechecking, a few odd man rushes given up by the Blue Jackets. We didn't see a lot of that last year. If you think about it, they cashed in on a couple of those, some great opportunities on Bobrovsky. Loved how the Panarin line got going. They seemed to like and enjoy playing with each other. But a little too much sloppiness inside their own end. I mean, right inside the blue line. One turnover led to a penalty, which led to a goal. You got to manage the puck a little better. But, 3 games in 3 nights, it's not an excuse here. But it is camp. You should be worrying about the details now. And I thought Nashville did that a lot better through the neutral zone, getting pucks out of their own end and taking care of it and forechecking in the offensive zone.
Will he focus on that tomorrow when the two groups are working, or is the focus just, again, preparing for the season opener on October 6th, still with 3 preseason games to play?
Yeah, I mean, we're still in that bit of camp where guys having opportunities to show themselves are going to fade away quickly. He's going to get the team together, I think, sooner than later. Get this group together, get their mindset in the right area. And, it's hard to mimic regular season games. But these guys have got to be on the same page and rolling for game 1, because when that puck drops in game 1, any seed of doubt, any sense of hesitation, any room for error or sloppiness is out. Because usually, and we talked about it on air, when you make a mistake, sometimes I don't know why, but it just seems to end up in the back of your net most of the time. And the Blue Jackets cannot afford to give up or make too many mistakes and allow the opposition power plays, opportunities at the net, and too much offensive zone time against them.
We have talked a lot about who is going to be the 6th defenseman on this team, 5 and 6, but Ryan Murray's played really well. So let's say he's locked in at 5. Who's going to be number 6? 3 candidates. They all played in this game today. Scott Harrington, Gabriel Carlsson, Marcus Nudavara.
Yeah.
Who played the best?
I thought Harrington played the best just because he's a guy that played physical. He played shorthanded. He got pucks through. But it's a very fine line. Carlsson and Nudavara did what they were supposed to do, too. Of course, they all wanted to score a goal. But I loved Harrington on that one faceoff. He jumped. He jumped right away, anticipated. He was a defenseman in the defensive zone, and he fully committed to the puck and created a 2-on-1 opportunity. You notice those things. Defensively, he played excellent on one of the penalty kills, on shutting things down and getting pucks out. Nudavara was up ice. He had some good shots on net. He made some excellent passes. He was a heads-up player. And Carlsson with the same thing. The play that jumps out to me at Carlsson, it was he had a player behind him looking to chase and sprint for an offensive zone breakaway. He had a player in front of him with the puck. He's in the neutral zone. He's the last man back. He waited. He let a passing lane open up, and he took it away and stopped the whole play. So they all did an excellent job, but I thought Harrington did a lot in all 3 zones.
Now the question is that enough to gain him a regular job? And that's really what this is all about. It's about pushing. It's about finding out. And I just know that, we've talked about him a lot in the games that he has played. John Tortorella has talked about him a lot, too. This is a much different guy than the one that came here last year in the trade with the Toronto Maple Leafs for Kirby Reichel. I mean, he came here as not an unknown guy, but it was like, okay, well, you got this guy, and we don't want to send him down because he'd have to clear waivers.
Yeah.
We think somebody's going to take him. He had to sit around for a long time. He just looks so much more confident to me, like he expects to play all the time.
Well, he's the only guy of those 3 that requires waivers. Nudavara plays 2 more games, and he will require waivers. Carlsson, I don't think, does yet. He's not played enough. So those factors will come into play if it's that close. But, I don't know. I'm glad we don't have to make those decisions, but we do notice what we noticed today. That's just our opinion, but that's how we saw it. And that's an interesting point. That's a conversation and thoughts that management and coaches have to have.
Now let's talk about the guys up front. Sonny Milano has had a good camp. He's performed well in games so far. Pierre-Luc Dubois had 2 goals in his last game before this one today. How did those 2 guys play for you today?
I thought they played well. Dubois is a big guy. At ice level, you really get a sense of what he brings to the table. He's physical. He can create space. He's smart when his players that he's playing with have the puck. He's a smart player away from the puck. He got under the skin of the goaltender and the opposition a little bit out there. O'Brien went after him once and got a little bit of bickering going. He's at best, I think, when he's doing that. He was out there late in the game, him and Milano, when they needed that late push with the goaltender out. Those are all situations where, I thought they did a good job today, both of them, Milano and Dubois. But it's going to be, I think, to this point, it's been telling. I think now the heat's going to be turned up because now you're going to see more regular rosters. Teams are going to want to, for the last 2 or 3 preseason games, really the last 2, to set their roster. They're going to want their guys to be together. So the importance of these games, the players who are going to be in them, maybe not the next one, but for the Blue Jackets, definitely the last 2. That's where you're really going to see what's happening, situational areas. It's been fun to tinker it to this point, but I think the tinkering is over. A few guys might get one more chance to show or 2, but after that, you're going to see the roster because we know points and how valuable they are to the team when it comes to making the playoffs. So this will really start to streamline here in the next week.
Now, this we're waiting for John Tortorella to come
Captain
in and
Obvious
talk.
there, right, too.
We're waiting for him, and this it's taken a long time today, and that's not much of a surprise because there could be those discussions that are going on right now in that room because
or it could not be.
Or, yeah, it might be, it might not be. I don't know, but at some point, as you said, right now they're scheduled to have 2 groups tomorrow that are going to practice. One on the main ice, which will be more of the NHL heavy group, and the other in the ice house, which is more of the AHL heavy group. So again, a lot of guys are probably wondering what list they're going to wind up on tomorrow.
Well, that's a good point. I remember being in camp, and on those afternoon games, it was a good opportunity. Well, think about it. 3 games in 3 nights, afternoon game, good opportunity for this camp to kind of break a little. And they might do that and look at tomorrow and the start of this week coming up as a Blue Jackets week with an opportunity for some players to go in. They could go down to one group. Camp opens for the American Hockey League, I think. Wednesday of this week is when they start setting things up up in Cleveland, which is down in the American Hockey League. But you're right. From experience and being around, you could be onto something there. There could be a discussion in the back room. Who are we going to remove from camp? Let's focus on these guys and really push things forward here.
Yeah, the question is how big are the groups that you want to deal with tomorrow, right? Yeah. I mean, do you trim something right now because you have the opportunity? You want guys to get back to a junior team or whether they're going to go overseas or whatever the case may be. That'll all factor in here too. But it's going to be an interesting week. There's still 3 games that remain. One more home game. That'll be on Tuesday night here against St. Louis. Then Nashville again on Thursday in Nashville.
Yep.
And then go to Pittsburgh on Saturday afternoon to close out the preseason.
You know what's going to be interesting too is Dubinsky, Jenner. Where do they come in? Where do they fit in? Will they be ready?
Well, and the thing is, we haven't even seen Boone Jenner.
Yeah.
I mean, Dubinsky has been skating with the group. And he's been taking shots, but Boone Jenner has yet to skate with the group at all.
But until you see him in a preseason game, what do we know about him? And look to see Dubinsky later in the week. Boone, I have no idea. Hopefully we see him at the end of the week and he's ready for Game 1. But it's not like going into the playoffs. Game 1 is not going into Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Game 1, I mean, if he has to wait a week or 2, that's fine. And that's really the importance of this week, too, is saying who can take that spot, who can move up in the lineup in that spot, who can play in the organization who hasn't played maybe before in a spot which created by a player going up and taking Boone's place. So they're looking at battles. They're looking at intangibles. They're looking at face-offs, help on draws, creating rebounds, drawing penalties, all those things that we don't notice all the time when we watch the game. They're watching to see who's doing that every shift. And there's some good names there. Dalpy's a guy. You know, he uses speed there. We saw a couple really good shifts out of that line. Hannikainen's a guy. I know they want to be here. They want him to grab it. Did he do enough today to do that? Are they going to look at him again a little longer? Milano's a guy who's, I think, in this camp has really made some noise.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. He has made some noise. Let's talk about, you mentioned maybe guys that are here, guys that aren't here. Let's start with the guys that are here. Lucas Sedlak. He's already a guy that has that third-line center position targeted. He wants that job. If there happens to be an opening at number 2, he's going to try to fight for that job as well. There's no doubt about it. He played well in Chicago last night. He played back-to-back games. He played Friday and Saturday. He had a goal in last night's game in Chicago. So he is there. You've got John Mitchell, who I talked to a few moments ago, that is here on a tryout that they brought in purposely on this tryout. Then you've got Dalpy, who you mentioned.
Yeah.
So
Foligno played center tonight.
Foligno did play center.
Was that good enough to replace or move up Sedlak or have Foligno in that position. So those are all interesting conversations. And you're probably right. They're probably having them right now.
I don't think they're talking about where they want to go for dinner when they leave the rink here, because that would be a short
Maybe they went for
conversation.
dinner.
Maybe
do they know something we don't know?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? So again, waiting for John Tortorella to talk about this game today, a 5-3 loss, but and that's the whole thing. He'll talk about this game. He'll get asked about this game, but it's not about this game. It's about where his team is right now. And I'm sure a lot of the questions are going to focus on what he thought about his top line of Panarin, Wenberg, and Atkinson in their play today.
Well, let's think about the game last night. So for him as head coach, it's probably more situational. And okay, they're up in Chicago, sold-out building, Kane, Taves, Saad coming down the pipe, rumbling at their goaltender. He's watching all the players he's thrown over the boards in those situations. Tonight, one goal, you're behind by a goal, you pull the goaltender. What do guys do in crucial situations? Do they keep plays alive? Are they winning battles on the board to keep plays alive? Are they getting pucks out? He's watched all those things the last 5 games. So he has got a great read on all these players. So I think that he's really set. But I'd be interested to hear if it's a conversation between the coaches now and the management. You know, I think management probably sees it differently. They have, players in certain spots where they want. He sees it differently. It's really a great thing for the organization, because maybe there's obviously guys who have made things tough for the coaches and the organization. That's exactly what you want to do as a player.
Right, and I'll tell you 2 guys that haven't made it tough. Even though he lost today, Sergei Bobrovsky, we saw him made some of those great athletic saves that he is known to make. Jonas Korpisalo, who did not have a good game on Tuesday whatsoever against Chicago, came back in stellar form last night, making 52 saves in a 3-2 victory. So that position, and I'll tell you, the 31 teams in the league would, if you said to them, hey, your goaltending will be set and solid before you even start your training camp, they would say, deal. They would take that right away. So no matter what else goes on, at least that position is in good hands.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it starts. You can build whatever you want out in front, but when you have a goaltender or a situation, you even look at Dallas last season. Those 2 guys, no one grabbed it. No one was the number one. They have a great forward nucleus, has some good young defensemen, and it really just shot the team to shreds. They've improved that. They went and got Ben Bishop, one of the best goalies in the league, and it solidifies. It just gives you a good sense of confidence, and that's what, yes, the Blue Jackets have a good thing going there.
And again, then moving up to the blue line, we talked about the battle for the 6th spot. I mean, how many teams would love to go into the final few days of training camp, and you got 5 of the 6 they're locked down, and even the 6th one is like, I got 3 really good players, and I got to pick one of these 3 really good players.
Do you have enough pieces to make a trade, maybe?
Oh, there's pieces. There's pieces.
I mean, maybe.
Apparently there's pieces, but there's not a deal to be made at this point in time. So, again, where you want to be fortified, this team is fortified.
Yes.
The questions remain up front, and there's more questions than just who makes the team. You still have one contract situation that's sitting out there that hasn't been resolved yet. That is, would be one of your top 9 players. So there's still a lot of balls in the air here in the last couple of days of training camp.
Yeah, no, it's surprising with the contract situation there that hasn't been signed yet, and Josh Anderson, but really, the camp, it's created opportunity, and as a player, that's really all you want is that opportunity. So. Yeah, Dubois, we talked about him earlier. He's getting a great opportunity. He's playing with some good players. He's getting some good ice time. Power play, shorthanded, end of the game. It's all gives everyone a great feel of where he's at. And he's definitely gotten better from last year. And just through a year of waiting is helping him. And I love, and I know you do too, where this organization is at, because they're not in a position where their hand is forced to make that kid play here. He's got to earn it. If it's not going to help the team and it's not best for him, then that he will go and play where he needs to play. So it's a good time to be a part of this organization.
But, it's funny you talk about opportunities that have been created because of certain situations. Pierre-Luc Dubois played at first at center. Now they've moved him over to the wing, which is something that was talked about the entire time. They always said that he might be a centerman, he might be a winger. He has been both in junior. In fact, he was a winger that was moved to center and was kind of learning the position as he went along. But you're missing a big winger, and you take a big guy and you put him on wing. and give him an opportunity. So, you know, again, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that there's where his chance might lie.
Right. And Torts with Gagne last year. Sam Gagne was here. He was here as a centerman, but he was playing wing for the first time.
He thought he was here as a centerman.
Yeah. But the game is different on the wing. It's a simpler game. There's not so many situations you have to worry about. And it's just up and down the wall, make plays into the middle, get them back, drive. And Dubois is kind of built for that at this level, at the pro level. Right now, he seems to be built for that. He's built for the boards. He's smart on the boards. He's smart away from the puck and with the puck. So, yeah, that's a good point. Anderson out, and why not try the big boy on the wing?
Yeah, they're giving them the opportunities, trying to make the most of it. All right, well, there is no John Tortorella yet. The conversations do continue.
Make the call.
Oh, I'm going to make this call. I'm going to make it right now. Blue Jackets will be back here on Tuesday night to take on the St. Louis Blues as they will play their final preseason game at Nationwide Arena. We're going to take a break, and Ryan Mitchell will take over next on the El Dorado Scioto Downs Blue Jackets Radio Network.